Hi, welcome. Good to see you. If you're curious to what's kind of going on right now in the world of SpeedHero, hang out with me for a couple minutes here. We're going to do a bit of a chat. I'm going to try my best to catch you up to where we kind of were and where we are right now. And I would love to if you hung out with me. Cool. So, welcome to the SpeedHero July update 2019. First thing I want to talk about is a question that I constantly have to answer all the time. What is SpeedHero? If you think it's me, Quinn, that's probably not the right answer. SpeedHero is more of a state of mind. And what I mean by that is if you have somebody who is like maybe stops on the side of the highway to help you repair a car, somebody who is there to teach you about maybe just cars in general, somebody who goes to the track and takes photos, just somebody who participates in promoting and moving car culture along, I would consider that somebody who is a SpeedHero. SpeedHero is just a state of mind. So it is the promotion of car culture. It's not a Japanese thing. It's not a specific style thing. It is just the promotion of car culture. So I just wanted to start out the video with, if you're wondering where we are with wheels, a lot of people have a question with wheels. I have 3 projects. I have wheels, I have racing gloves, currently happening. I actually have coilovers. Talked about coilovers a lot, but all of these are coming to the same conclusion right now. Hung up. This month we are our official theme is hung up, stuck. What are we stuck on? Stuck on money. Money is always the hang up that we seem to have. I have an aversion to money. I don't like money. If you're not familiar with SpeedHero wheels, what I'd like to do maybe is just do a bit of an intro to kind of where we started and how we got there. So just kind of understand. If you haven't seen this graph before, this is a momentum chart I recently created. This momentum chart is specifically designed to show kind of how the process of the wheels came about. So starting in 2008, that's kind of the origins of SpeedHero. Like anybody interested in cars, I was also interested in the wheels that go onto the car. It's a normal and natural process to daydream about which wheels you'll fit to your project, and that's not universal to every human ever that's lived, but any human that sort of interacts with cars and car culture. Like anybody with curiosity, I started learning about wheels. We dug up old photos, got into figuring out what makes a wheel, what's important about a wheel. Everybody who is into putting a wheel onto a car has to go through the learning process that there's different bolt patterns, hub bores and offsets and diameters and all of that sort of wild stuff. But like anybody who's curious or interested in that, that's usually where it ends. They find a wheel that they like, that'll fit the car, and they kind of go with that. Some people want something specific, and that's sort of where I fell in love further. I started just kind of drawing stuff. Everybody wants to draw or have an outlet. Ideas, you have these great concepts and see them come alive. So I just started doing like hand-drawn and Photoshop concepts. This is actually way back in like 2008. Even then, I was interacting with manufacturers to make. Back then, I really couldn't communicate my ideas very well. So what I tried to do is send them like hand drawings and Photoshop concepts to China. Say, hey, can you make this? An example actually shown right in the middle of our screen is on the right-hand side is a drawing that I did many years later of an idea I had at the time. I sent that idea to China, and on the left is what they sent back, their rendition. Later on, I had the skills to create that wheel in dimensions, but at the time I didn't, and yeah, I got very frustrated by that. So I needed to learn how to communicate my ideas better. So I went into, by about 2012, I was starting to figure out that I need to maybe move on past 3D Studio Max and other things, and so I decided to learn SolidWorks. Now, for most people, I would say that, for most people, I would say that they would go to school for this. Money's always been a problem for me. I have an aversion to avoid money. I don't generally, and so I always try to find another way to do something different. Is thing. So I decided to learn SolidWorks, but I couldn't. So it took me many years to even get the opportunity to learn it. And to do so, I'm going to simplify the story, but basically I broke into the local college, engineering college, pretended to be a student for a few weeks, and used their computers to teach myself SolidWorks. So that was about 2012. So about 4 years after I started getting into figuring out how to make this. Bottom right here, you can actually see one of the first wheels I ever communicated, which is a really basic wheel, just a solid brake cooker type design with a heart cut out of it. So that's kind of work. That actual render is from the local computer. Started to figure it out. From there, I needed to actually figure out like the real dimensions of wheels, not just what I think they look like, but actually like how do I make it so it fits a tire. The biggest hangups or hurdles that I've had to overcome in this process is finding actual real dimensions. Sure, like anybody, you could probably measure, but there's actually specific SAE and even European tire and wheel engineering requirements, and it's really tough to find that stuff. It took me many years to dig up and find these exact measurements. Even today, when I talk to people, most of that information is pretty secretly guarded, unless you come from an engineering college, which is very easy. You just press a button and somebody sends you a drawing. So yeah, it was tricky. So eventually I did find the exact measurements I needed for stuff, but there's the next hurdle, designing something people love. So there's a problem with this. Each part of the process of going from idea to your idea, so let's say you have your idea over here, got your idea, and you have your finished product. Now you would just love to go from your idea directly over. It makes sense, but it doesn't work that way. We have to communicate that idea. Communicate the idea, manufacture the idea, and you have to sell that idea. Each one of these is a filter that idea has to pass through. And so when you communicate, like I was doing earlier with China in 2008, sometimes that really sort of distorted. Reason being is that somebody is maybe thinking ahead. They're sort of they're thinking ahead to manufacturing. They're like, oh, you know what, this is going to be easier to manufacture. So when it goes through manufacturing, it then gets further distorted. Manufacture straight lines or circles. And now that it gets to selling your idea, buy it. And maybe those people have their own expectations of things they think about. So that's going to affect that. And when you actually get to the final product, it's nothing dreamed of, sort of different. So it comes to when it comes to like designing something, you have to design it so it fits the machine that's going to cut it, but it also has to, sort of be what people will like as well. So you kind of have to think through those filters before even starting to draw or come up. So it took me a really long time. On the far left side here, you can actually see a collection of concepts and things. About 2012 to about 2016, I gathered hundreds of concepts. The ones on the poster on the left are only ones that I felt were okay to put on the poster, and even then, I hate about 50% of them. So eventually, I did finally come up with one idea I really liked out of hundreds of ideas, and it was the SpeedHero GSX-1 concept. Which I came up with about early 2018, so almost 10 years after I started getting interested into wheels, did I actually come up with a wheel I felt time to attempt to manufacture, I should say. So that's when I started to try to get noticed by manufacturers and investors. That part actually seemed, I'm not going to say easy, but more natural. People started, when I really focused on trying to draw stuff that I thought people would like and that I would like, but also was manufacturable. I would say often approached by people who wanted the wheel or wanted to help to make the wheel. That was nice. Biggest problem is you really do have to filter who's giving you a hand. And it's not rude, it's not upsetting. You just don't want to waste your time and their time and somebody else's money or your own. You just don't want to waste anybody's money. Money is time, so yeah. So it took me a long time to find the right person that could connect with me. They themselves, if you were to go back into our filter here, if you were to jump back into our filter, you could even put them in as to another filter of investors. So you could even add them as another filter to pass through. They like your idea, but maybe they want to tweak it some way. And so that can be tricky. That can be a little. They did find somebody, and they were very willing to work with to create a viable product. Now, the best way I found to connect with somebody is to actually make physical items. One of the best things I ever did was to make a plastic prototype. You'll see on the top right here is actually a plastic prototype that is sitting in the kind of a couple feet away from me, and it was the best way to get people to notice me. So anyways, I did get somebody to notice me, and things were good. They actually, you'll see these photos here are actual real prototypes of real wheels made of real metal that actually could bolt to a car. They're real. It's wonderful. The investor is a wheel manufacturer, a big one, and they saw potential in my idea as well as like the same way I did, so that was nice. Problem is that they had a big pool. It's a very small fish in their big pool. You're sitting there like, Quinn, you're saying that somebody made wheels and you were ready to go. Yeah, we launched the company. We totally launched the company for buyers. But in that big company, I was a very small fish. Inside their big pool, I was a tiny, tiny little fish. And so when one of their bigger fishes actually got threatened and needed all of the company's resources, my little fish kind of got starved further. It's a logical business approach for them, and it makes sense. But in my own pool, personal pool, SpeedHero wheels was the biggest fish in my entire pool. So my little fish got starved, and what ended up happening is a bunch of people who placed orders with me did not get their orders delivered, and we had to go through and refund. So nobody was out in that case, which was nice, but that sort of ruined my relationship with that manufacturer, because I want to be a bit more important in their big pond. And so all of our momentum sort of dried up, and eventually we got stuck. 11 years into the process, and sort of back to ground zero again. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you need a lot of money to start a business. It's quite a bit. I'm trying to do it as cheap as possible. Working towards it. We're trying our best all the time. And I'm trying my best to work with those filters. I really gotta make sure I pass through those filters correctly. A couple other projects that we have on the go are racing gloves and rubber coiling. Both those are hung up by very similar reasons, trying to communicate with manufacturers, having miscommunications with those manufacturers. Really trying to push through that first barrier of like, come on, pay attention to what I'm doing, try to achieve my vision. This is my vision, why don't you see it? So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now in July 2019. That kind of hopefully catches you up. For those of you that want to stick around and learn a bit more about wheels, I'm going to do a bit more talking about wheels after this. Those of you who just needed a quick sort of up-to-date for where we started, where we're at now, this is kind of where we're at. So you can, we'll say goodbye to those viewers for today. But if you want to still hang out and you want to learn a bit more about wheels, I'd love to hang out with you and talk more about wheels. So that's, we're going to call that the start of this part of the video. So let's jump into that there. What I would like to talk about is the flow of wheels. So let's talk about the flow of wheels and how that works. Cool. Blank screen here. So for most people, when they see a wheel, especially let's talk about specifically these wheels, because that's what we're making. These wheels. Our 3-piece wheels have a couple parts. We've got our center, and we have barrel or slash lips. Lots of different words for this stuff, but I just like to call it hoop. Now I've got a cart, see, because I'm not very good at drawing with my hands. So me drawing. We got a cart, and we have the world's greatest horse. Da, da, da. Got our horse. I know it's a cat horse, but we got a horse. So we don't want to put our cart in front of our horse. So which thing do you feel comes first here? Most people, they would feel that a center would be first, and fitting a barrel or hoop to that would make sense. This is completely wrong. Like, what do you mean that's completely wrong? I mean, it's completely wrong. The problem is, kind of goes like this. Pick our hoop, find our hoop, and then we fit our center to the hoop. So our hoop is number 1, and our center is number 2. Seems a bit illogical. Seems a bit backwards for most people. But in most modern vehicles and cars, anything 17-inch or larger, they have what's called standardization. It means that if I were to make a center and I were to make a barrel, and we're going to call this manufacturer A makes a barrel, and manufacturer B makes a barrel. This face would fit both. That would be good standardization. They use the same measurements of the center and how it fits together. The problem is this isn't the case in most small. There is no standardization. And design a face to fit barrel A, but it do not fit barrel B. The problem is A might look good, but it might be really expansive. Barrel B might be a bit cheaper, but not look as good. So which do I build? Well, if we're going through the filter of our consumer, obviously we want things to look good, but we want them to be cheap. This is our device. So come down to which one do I pick? This is a common problem I have. So we're on the hunt for hoops. I've tried China. China has good prices, but they have bad sad, and they have mystery quality. Some are good, some are bad. So we're left with a mystery of is the wheel gonna be? I've tried the good old US of A, but they're pricey, very expensive, and availability. So that doesn't feel good. Sometimes they have good looks, but yeah, they very good availability. So I can't really get them when I want them and need them in the sizes that I desire. Canada, where I live, no one barrels in Canada. Yes, there are people that make them. No, they don't want to sell to me, and most of the time they don't make very. So we're constantly stuck trying to get to our finished wheel over here. Sick and deep, and it's got really cool. Nice dish here. First we got to make our barrel, and then we got to make our center. Can't even achieve this, so we can't make this progress. Constantly fighting this issue here. Where the hell do I get good barrels? So what are some solutions to that? Got two basic fixes. One, we buy equipment. Buy some equipment and make it ourselves. This is say a $200,000 problem. Canadian, $200,000. Is machines generally cost to spin metal $50 to $100,000 a piece, and so spin, and then machining is another 50 to 100K, or like a good CNC, or even just doing sand casting, we still need. And then we have all the other stuff like finishes and bolt pattern. So looking at a big problem. Two, so we could solve this by buying a lot of volume. For those of you who don't know, volume equals discount. If I buy one apple at the grocery store, it costs me $1, but if I buy 100 apples, it costs me 25 cents an apple. And so I can pass on those savings to my customers if I buy huge volume. Manufacturer. Problem is that also equals 200. So we're kind of stuck either way. 200K problem. So this is officially our. So we were stuck. kind of stuck on our $200,000 problem. If you're wondering what's slowing us down, it's the fact that we just don't have the resources quickly and easily available. I've got a lot of people who are interested in them, and I got a lot of people who want to help, but I don't have exactly what I need quite yet. And so we're working towards that. So if you were curious about wheels, that's kind of where we're at. Yeah. So if you've been hanging out with us this whole video, if you made it all the way to the end, I thank you very much. Yeah, if you're curious about more stuff, if you like want to know what's going on and when it's going on, you can kind of like join our Patreon. So yeah, if you're not sure what that is, Patreon is just a little bit of a say on, so that I have a little bit of money I can focus on doing stuff at home. I use Patreon to sort of support myself while I projects. And so if you're curious and you're like, oh man, maybe I can't give them $200,000, but maybe I can give them a couple, like $10 a month or something like that, that's awesome. We have a couple different tiers actually that happens with that. We have the happy and healthy tier, but let's take a look together. Check out our Patreon here. See, it's www.patreon.com/SpeedHero. You can find out a little bit more. I've got a bit of a more about SpeedHero thing there. But yeah, we've got our happy and healthy, which is about $5 a month. That's just so I can afford food and things like that. We have the Let's Do It tier. This gets you into our Facebook chat group, and it gives us actually some a discount on our SpeedHero goods. So if you want to buy stickers or t-shirts or hoodies or anything like that. We have the I Like It More Than You. This is a little bit more off of our discount on SpeedHero. It's also part of our chat group, but you also get into our monthly newsletters. So things that like I send you out a newsletter in the mail in person. If you want a monthly sticker, so I do a unique SpeedHero sticker every month for our Patreon sticker club. It's a bit pricey at $50. It's something I wouldn't be able to afford for most of my. Some other people can. So yeah, that'll get you a unique sticker. That'll get you the monthly newsletter. It'll get you the discount on the website. Well, and then there's some wild other tiers you can take a look at on your own. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of catch up, and that's kind of where we're at. So thank you for hanging out, and please have a really good day. I'll talk to you another time. Bye now.